Welcome to Deep Thought, when reality contradicts our beliefs. Now, I started to get into this in the last one, and I had something else written down to do today. I literally, after I was talking, and y'all know I just do, whenever I do these videos, I record all my Deep Thought videos in the same day, like same hour, and just have different subjects. So, I literally, as I was talking, I said, you know what, let me talk about that cognitive dissonance. And literally just crossed off what I was going to talk about. I'll do it later. And then decided to do this. Because we will believe one thing, but then have trouble with what we see in reality. Like I used an example of a racial bias, and we all have it. We all have it against other groups of people. And we'll think, oh, they're going to believe, or even against genders. We will believe certain things, but then when we see something that contradicts it, it can really mess with our mind. And it don't have to be racial. It could be thinking, look, I'll use one racial and racial and gender. Because I saw something on IG. The other day, and it was definitely racial. Like it was a TikTok, somebody was saying, show us that you're white without saying that you're white. And a guy walked into his house, and the kids say, hey, Dad. And I was like, okay. Because there's that perception that black men aren't good fathers or deadbeat fathers. But then there's a couple things with that based on statistics, based on studies. The CDC determined that of all the groups, black men are the most involved fathers. Involved as a group. Even if they're not married to the mother, they will still, as a group, will be involved in the children's lives and everything. As a group now. As a group, and they not just being in the same home, but actually taking time with them. Now, of course, there's going to be some who aren't, but then that's in all groups, really. There's plenty of. I've dealt with women from other groups, and their fathers aren't really around. And then you got some their fathers are around. Now, that's according to a study. But then, if someone encounters. But if someone believes that, and then they encounter a black man who's being involved with his children, that could go against it. They'll think he's like, something's wrong with him. But if you are in groups with black men who are fathers, the vast majority of them, overwhelming majority of them are involved. If you're actually in those groups. But then if somebody were to be presented with that and they had that belief, it would be a problem. But then there's something else with that as well. And I'm just using that as a blatant racial example. The belief that all black men are deadbeat dads, but only the majority of black men, a slight majority of black men don't even have children. American black men don't even have children. And these are statistics. These are statistics that have pointed this out. They don't have children, And then, just cross-racial, anything racial, there's a ton. But people will have that perception that this is the case. And it's like, no, majority don't. Because I know if we're talking using black men personally, I know plenty fathers, black fathers, of course. But I know plenty of guys who don't have children, and they're in their 30s and 40s and 50s. But people will have that perception. And this goes, it's so many. Let's just be real. It's all over social media with these perceptions. But the thing is, when you have a certain perception, it could actually cause cognitive dissonance. It could actually cause you to have some type of trouble. It's like a glitch in the system when you're presented with something that goes against whatever your beliefs are. when it's presented to you, when truth, I'm gonna tell you what, I always say truth is such a weapon. When you present somebody with a solid truth, they can't contradict it. You have everything to support it. I mean, primarily prima facie evidence in legalese, that's right in front of your eyes. It's right there. You can't ignore it. It can cause problems. I've seen that. Like, truth is a weapon. Truth can bring that, because then the reality contradicts our beliefs, but then we have to rethink our beliefs, you know? And yeah, I'm using that racial thing. Let me keep using it, because you have stuff about, blue collar black men not getting attention from women. And I'm like, okay, but if you out and about, plenty of blue collar men are not only getting attention from women, but they got children. They got children. They got families. They building families, solid families. You know. But then we'll get caught up into what a woman who might not be interested in those type of men might say. It's like, that's them. That's the one person. What's the overall picture? And there's a lot of that going on. There's a lot of that going on. You know, I remember that because, and that's just not what, I'll use the black example, but I remember reading something about one of those white nationalist groups. I believe it was the Order, who I was reading a book about them and how they were going against it was a standoff with federal agents, and how, when one surrendered, it was like, wait, these are all white guys. Like all the federal agents, but that individual had to believe, oh, it was just the Jews and their, I ain't gonna use the N-word police. So it was just like, But they had that perception, but then the reality showed something else. And, and it could cause something. See, one thing about beliefs, that's the fuel for us. We don't walk around like robots. How we move, how we do things, what we eat, the type of thing we do for a living, where we live, it's all up here. It's all up here. In fact, a propaganda is just that powerful, because the ass follows the mind. But if up here isn't facing reality, dealing with the thing, everything, it affects everything else in your life. And, many, like I said, many people can get hurt. I never forget when I was dealing with this young lady, and she had a certain perception of why we were together. And I just corrected her, and really just corrected her from my perspective. And I never forget, she kind of fell back against the wall and slid down the wall. And I wasn't trying to hurt her. I really cared about her. I really cared about her. Sincerely, it's like of the many women I've dealt with, she's in the top 5 of ones I had serious cared for. Not that type of love. There was love there, but not that romantic, all that, but seriously cared about her well-being. Hope she's doing well now. Could have been a potential wife. It was that deep. But the thing was, I was, I felt bad, of course, but I didn't mean to. I was just being honest with her. But it contradicted what she wanted to believe. So, I mean, and it's powerful. But here's what I would say. No matter what, you got to face truth, even if it hurts. Let me say that again. Even if it hurts, because in the long run, it's better for you. Because if you face that truth early, then when something happens later that exposes that truth, you can handle it better. You have people out here, they are suffering post-traumatic syndrome from discovering the truth about something. That's how deep it is. It's a weapon. Truth is an actual weapon. That's how deep. And trust me, intelligence agencies are well aware that, also advertisers and anybody else on that level. So it's something to think about. It's something to think about. And like I said, you can defend against being hurt by always trying to see the truth, even if it hurts. Even if it hurts. That's one thing Because, you know, we've all had false beliefs. I'm not going to act like I didn't have any. And, you know, there's still some I'm fighting against. And seriously, it's a personal thing. It's something I got to still deal with it. But the thing I fight it with is embracing the truth, no matter how harmful it is. Because I'd rather have that little bit of pain now than that bigger pain later. All right? Always try to face reality. Always try. It's tough. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough because we still want to have our own biases, our own beliefs. But we still have to deal with the reality. And I'll say this, it's a reward. Because once you deal with the reality, you lessen the stress on you. And you have a certain peace. And I will say that. Like I said, I'm still climbing that mountain too, but I would say just dealing with false beliefs over the years, I'm at more peace now than I was a year ago. And then a year ago, I was at more peace than I was a year before that. And this ain't bragging or anything. Trust me, it's work. It is work. But you still have to face truth. You have to face reality as best as possible. All right? So that's all I have for now. I'll get back with you. Peace and blessings.